After taking some time and seeing the first film twice and the sequel twice, I now have come to the conclusion that I got The Matrix wrong. I thought that everything that was taking place on the Nebuchadnezzar was The Matrix, and that they were plugging themselves back into the real world. Dumb me, right? But now that I'm more in tune with the first two films, I'm starting to piece things together. Are we in The Matrix? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Heads Project. I'm John Rodalaza, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Matrix Reloaded. Yes, I'm currently covering all the Matrix films in the lead up to Matrix Resurrections, which I will be seeing Thursday on the Christmas week, so be on the lookout for that. But right now, let's talk about the sequel starring Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Lawrence Fishburne. Yes, you heard that correctly. Since I watched The Matrix once and reviewed it, I've seen it again, and I've seen The Matrix Reloaded twice. I really just wanted to collect my thoughts and not miss anything. I probably still missed a few things, but I can appreciate the first movie. I still am not super hyped about it. I don't think it's like the best thing ever, like some people do. That's what I'm saying. But I like all the hidden meanings and messages and metaphors that are within The Matrix, and I like that, and I like how it carries over into the second film. The second one takes a lot of the good things of the first one and kind of just brings it up a notch, elevates it, gives you more of it. The kung fu action scenes, you get a lot more of that in the second film, and that's what I'm here for, because I loved it in that first movie. I loved that fight with Agent Smith and Neo in the subway. Best fight scene, in my opinion, in that film, and you just get more of that in here. You literally get an army of Agent Smiths versus Neo. It's pretty wild. With that fight scene as well, you also get more CGI. There was sprinkles of CGI and like totally recreated worlds and CGI in that first film. Just a tiny bit, but in here, you get full-on action sequences for 20-30 seconds with CGI worlds and CGI Neos and Agent Smiths. It's jarring, and it doesn't look very good in my opinion. That could have been one of my favorite action scenes pretty much ever, up until, you know, Neo gets pushed up against the building and he grabs the giant lead pipe, and then it becomes a CGI created world where he's just taking down the Agent Smiths. And I was thinking, I don't know, maybe they couldn't film that because the long staff, maybe it would just be kind of hard to maneuver in front of a crowd of people. But no, there's actual shots of him doing it in a crowd of people with like real Keanu Reeves. So I don't know why the whole scene wasn't just done that way. Maybe it was because it was like the new technology back in the day and they wanted to, but you should have just left it alone. Carrie-Anne Moss and Lawrence Fishburne as Trinity and Morpheus in here are also as great as they were in the first film. I can buy into the love kind of with Trinity and Neo in here a little bit more, obviously, because they're showing the love throughout the film. The first one just really didn't for me, and if you say that it did, you're lying, because it really didn't. I didn't feel anything for them in that movie at all. Even when the kiss happened, I don't really buy into that in that first movie, but in here they explored a little bit. I'm like, all right, I could give it some leeway. There was a very uncomfortable sex scene that is interweaved and edited in between this dance of all the Zion people. They're celebrating or something, and it's got this slow-mo shots of all of them dancing all up on each other, all erotically, and it's got this music playing that is straight out of a porno, and it keeps cutting back to Neo and Trinity doing it. It's not technically a 3-minute sex scene, but it is. That whole sequence of them going back and forth is 3 minutes, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Going back to right before that very uncomfortable scene, Morpheus is delivering this very impactful and motivational speech to the people of Zion because he cares about them, and that's the one thing I really love about Morpheus in the film so far. Again, I haven't seen the third one as of right now, but I've seen the first two twice each. I love Morpheus and his care for the people of Zion, because you don't really get that with Neo. In my opinion, I just don't feel that with Neo, and it's clear as day in this film at the end that Neo doesn't really care about the people of Zion. He cares about Trinity, and to an extent he cares about Morpheus, but Morpheus is very selfless, I think. I think he cares so much about everybody, dude. I loved how he believed so much in Neo in that first film. And I love how he cares so much about these people of Zion. That these are his people. These are the people that are worth fighting for, not the people that are stuck in the Matrix. I mean, maybe he wants to keep continually freeing people from the Matrix, giving them red pills and whatnot. Those people can suck it and continue eating their blue pills. I know that there's this overarching war going on with the people of Zion and the machines. Look, I don't really care too much about the war with the machines. If the third movie dives into it more, then obviously I will get more invested into it. But as of right now, I have no interest in watching the Animatrix or anything else beyond the 3 movies. I just don't find the machine conflict as engaging as the other things in the first 2 films are like putting at the forefront. And once again, we get Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith, and he's kind of detached now from the agents. He's not exactly like them because he's got no earpiece now. And I wondered how he could do that. He rebuilt himself. Don't tell me if there's something revealed in the third film. I'm gonna watch it soon, so keep your mouth shut in the comments about the third film. Just talk about the first and second. I really like Agent Smith in here. He's such a menacing villain, and he was a really good one in the first film. We get more of it here, obviously, with him duplicating himself, and he'll like punch a hole through your chest and be like, hello, me. It's kind of comedic when he's changing people into other duplicates of himself. What I didn't really like in the second one was when they showed someone's face started morphing into the new agent. That wasn't, yeah, that looked terrible. But I liked how they did in the first film. They just focused on a hand, a body part that just wouldn't look too crappy if you did something like that, and it didn't. The new one, every time they showed him morphing into a body, it would always focus on the face, and it would always be this crappy, like, oh, here's the face right here, and then boom, it just looked like shit. I'm sorry. We got the soundtrack that I think is perfect for The Matrix. I don't know, something about this techno-y sounding music that just kicks on every time Neo just starts blocking all the hits. It cracks me up a little bit because it works so much. It's almost a little like on the comedic side, but in a good way, in a very good way. I mean, goodwill towards that. I just like it. It fits. Now I want to talk about the ending that I know a lot of people who did watch it back then had issues with. I've seen many videos since I watched it twice talking about how people hated the ending to the second Matrix because it kind of goes against what the first film set up in a way, like Neo's the one. But in this film, he finds the keymaker, and the keymaker gives him the key to unlock the door to find the architect, the one who created the Matrix, so to speak, which I call bullshit on that. There's definitely somebody above the architect for sure. Neo is face to face with the architect inside this very bright white room with TV screens surrounding them, and he's sitting in a black wheelie chair, turns around all dressed in white. He's got some white hair, a white beard, and he says, hello, Neo. He's got like no emotion, no expression on his face throughout the entire thing. He's just straight-faced, monotoned, and it's kind of cool. I liked this reveal when the architect looked Neo in the eyes, told him, and also told the audience that the character that we've been following for the whole film prior, from a nothing character all the way into this godlike being within the Matrix, is only one of 6. He is in the 6th generation, the 6th iteration of the Matrix, because at a certain point, the architect or someone else reboots everything and the cycle repeats. Now I understand if someone was watching The Matrix in 1999 and right when it first came out and they were all hyped about it and they had to wait 4 years to hear that, that probably would have pissed me off too, I'm not gonna lie, but it's been a week for me. I wasn't super into that first Matrix upon the first watch. And again, this is how it happened. I watched the 1999 one, I watched the second again, and then I watched the original again. That's how it happened. I had only seen the first film once before I got to the ending of Reloaded, and I liked this reveal. I think it's more in tune with what the first film was setting up, how there's so much unknown to be had with the Matrix. Morpheus may appear to know more than he does, but he doesn't know everything. And I just like the reveals. That's what I really like in these first 2 movies so far. I like how we're slowly unraveling, and it's like I still don't have a full understanding of what the Matrix is, and I liked how we're just getting more and more. I don't think that's really bad, and I don't think it tarnishes anything that the first film did, honestly. I believe that Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity believed that there was a one, and Neo was the one, but as they said in the movies, the rabbit hole just keeps going down further and further, and they're not even there yet. They're barely scratching the surface, in my opinion. So, yeah, I appreciate this movie. I honestly had a little bit more fun with this second movie than I did the first one. First one can have some somber, slow moments at times, but it does have some iconic shots. I gotta give it that. It's got some really cool fight scenes, the kung fu scenes, but there's just so much more of the things I like in the first one in the second one. Also, a lot of more things in the second one that I didn't like in the first one, like the CGI, the whole recreated CGI crap. There's a whole list of new characters as well. The twins that have like the white dreadlocks and dressed in white, super pale. They're kind of cool, but they I think they died. Like, they barely lasted in this movie, and they barely spoke. I think Jada Pinkett Smith is in this movie. I totally missed her. Overall, I had fun with this movie. Like I said, a little bit more fun than I did with the first one. It's got a lot more of the dope things that I found in that first one. And I like the reveal. I like that we're deepening the lore in this one more than we did in that first one. First one was just like introducing to the world what the Matrix is. So yeah, it wasn't going to go super deep into the lore right away, but this one, I appreciate it for that. And I'm actually excited to check out the third one. So guys, be sure to stick around next week because I will be reviewing the final film in the Matrix trilogy before it doesn't become a trilogy anymore because it's going to be Matrix Resurrections. But the Matrix Revolutions review is coming next week. So there's a lot of content coming to the channel and you might want to stick around because there is more to come.